Welcome, Nesters, to part two of our season review that very much morphs into an update on plenty of trade ongoings at the West Coast Eagles. Drew Jones, hello to you, mate. Fatherhood's been a few weeks on from our last chat. How are you finding it?
Hello, Garby. Couldn't be going better,
Right.
to be honest. We're moving along at a cracking pace. Max has put on over a kilo. He's grown 6 centimetres. So
Nice.
he's projecting for sort of a Job Shanahan sort of size.
Right.
I think that he's going to fit very nicely into a West Coast forward line in 2044. That's the plan anyway. Garb and Jones on the same line we're hoping for.
Yeah, nice to hear, mate. Yeah, Noah Garb's tracking along beautifully as well. That's great. I'm sure everyone's pumped for you. Good stuff, mate. Right, let's get into it. Wow, what a busy period. I mean, there's so much to talk about in terms of players that we might be interested in. But, since we did our last review, and we'll pick it up from where we left off last time, there are 3 players going West Coast way. Brandon Starcevich, Devon Robertson, and Tylar Young. So, 3 already before the trade period has started. It's more than we could have anticipated. There's no real massive name there, although Starcevich is obviously extremely well credentialed, but he comes with understandable concerns. But it's encouraging.
Yeah, you know what? I got so excited yesterday that I've done my best 23 for next season.
Oh, God.
That's
what fatherhood will do to you.
100%. But no, I talked about this with someone recently when I was at the grand final last weekend. I saw these Brisbane fans just going absolutely mental. And I was craving being back on a stage where we're playing like meaningful games and like you're riding every kick and handball. And I guess like when you see players who want to join the team and you see movement maybe in the right direction, it fired me up a little bit for next season, hoping that we can be more competitive. I want to feel those juices flowing again when you're watching the Eagles. So I think Tylar Young's going to be a really great fit for us. And I think his underlying numbers are really good, as you highlighted on the Twitter page. And yeah, I think he's someone that fits what we're doing so perfectly in an area that we clearly need. And then Robertson, I'm excited to see what he can achieve. He's obviously stunted the last couple of years with lack of opportunity. And then from my perspective, there's a healthy amount of cynicism with Starcevich. His concussion record really concerns me.
Yeah.
But I understand we're rolling the dice on a player who could really give us a lot if he can stay healthy.
The Tylar Young one, is really interesting. The majority of Eagles fans wouldn't have heard of him. Or barely know anything about him, and that's fair enough. That's no slight. The majority of football fans wouldn't know too much about Tylar Young, which is why I'm kind of enthused by it, because it feels like a real Andrew McWalter, Matthew Clark. We know this guy. We've seen what he can do. And as I said on the Twitter page, it feels like a Moneyball play. Like he had a really good 2023. Then he did his ACL. Reading through a lot of Tigers fans' comments, on Tylar Young, going through social media, there's a lot of encouragement about the way he played this year. Most of them really wanted him to stay. And it feels like we stole the march on Richmond a bit because of our inside knowledge on him through Minnie and Matt Clark. So, yeah, it feels like one of those money balls where, we can get him potentially for unders, or maybe he was underappreciated. And, he helps Harry Edwards as, a key defender. And Sandy Brock's obviously there competing, but it feels like he goes above him. And we found that player to give us more depth defensively without necessarily being someone that was, too old. Tylar Young's got time left. Injury concerns, yes, but he's only 27. And better than getting a 31, 32-year-old in as a stopgap for 1 or 2 seasons. This is someone we can actually build around for the next 3-4 years.
Yeah, and we clearly need to stiffen up the back six. So, the idea of Starcevich and Young coming into that back six, back seven will make a massive difference for us. So, yeah, I think Moneyball's a good approach for it. It sort of feels, quite low risk.
Yeah.
If it doesn't pan out, it's not the end of the world. We'll probably get him for a reasonable price. And obviously, we're in a position where we can afford to take these throws at the stumps. So there's still so much to play out from a free agency and trade perspective. But more news today, Garby, with Jack Steele sort of told he can look at his options. He's stepped down as captain. We haven't heard much about Alex Davies, but it feels like we've got at least one more move to make in terms of a midfield prospect.
Yeah, I can't see the Suns letting Davies leave now with Flanders going and probably Fiorini. They might say to Davies, you have to stay. We can't afford to lose another midfielder. Two are going, and Humphrey might go as well.
Petrarca coming in.
But if Humphrey goes, I doubt that. They'll do everything to keep him. He's that good.
Humphrey's not going to go.
Yeah,
Dimmer thinks that Humphreys is the next Dusty, so I don't think he's going to let him leave.
Yeah, so not sure about Davies. Just before we get onto that, though, I want to talk about just a little bit about Robertson and Starcevich. I'm not big on Robertson. He hasn't played. I know he's at the two-time premiers, but he hasn't really had much of a look in 24. He adds a bigger body around our midfield potentially. I think he adds a bit of depth. I think he adds another option. I don't think he's a player that's coming in and going, all right, he's definitely in our best 22, 23. He'll be around the mark, but there's not a guaranteed improvement in the team because of Dev Robertson. It's a possibility. It's depth. It's a bit more hardness. It's another midfield option. We need that. That's fine. But it's not as if it's a player that is guaranteed to improve our midfield next season, but we might as well get him, assuming the price won't be much. It probably gets bundled into the Starcevich deal. Yeah, Starcevich the concerns are fair enough because we're not from a 5-year deal. He gets one big concussion and then he's done. I imagine there'll be insurance there, right? So we'll be heavily insured against that happening.
Yep.
It's just about the pick that we use for that. So there's talking about pick 19. Pick 19 for Starcevich and Robertson feels slight overs unless we get something back because of the risk on Starcevich. If Starcevich plays the next 4 or 5 years, well, then great. It's definitely worth it. But it is such a worry, of course. But then you look at the way in which he's played the last 2 years. He takes Dangerfield out of the grand final. I'm also concerned about players going from high-achieving clubs to bottom of the ladder clubs and whether the motivation's the same or whether they're just cashing in. That's always a big concern as well. But look, he's going to improve our leadership and our focus and our standards massively and give us another competitor around the ball. So I'm all for it, but the question marks are certainly there. Now, in terms of those big name players who might come in and really improve our midfield that are on the market. So Steele, you mentioned, Jai Simpkins, another one, and then Clayton Oliver. They're the three inside mids that are open for teams to have a go at. I can't see us getting any of them, only because I think Collingwood and the Giants are going to be keener on Steele than we are. He seems like the most likely for us, and we have been linked to him. But if you're him at his stage of his career, you got a chance to challenge for another flag at the Pies and potentially at the Giants who want to beef up their midfield. But whoever gets Oliver probably has a crack at Steele, and if it doesn't work out, then maybe he falls to us.
So you're saying you'd be interested in Oliver?
I'd be interested in Steele first.
Yeah.
I would be interested in Oliver at 700K, assuming we don't have to give up too much, and that's a very big if, and that his problems aren't too severe. But I think the D's would. I don't know if they would ask too much. It seems like they're pretty keen to offload him.
So if you're Matthew Clark, if you're Don Pike, and you're Andrew McQualter, let's sit in a meeting with Jack Steele. The sell here is the sea change. Come to Western Australia, enjoy the sunshine, place in Cottesloe, learn to surf. You've come from a club that has been in the headlines in Melbourne for generally the wrong reasons, and you've had to put out a few fires as captain. You do your one obligated CBA press conference for the season, and other than that, we won't make you talk at all. You just relax, be like your introverted, laid-back self. Come in, be Harley's bodyguard. Work with Baker, work with Graham about setting standards, and you're setting the table for us to come back and play finals in a couple of years. Work with Zane Dersma. They earn $1 million a year. That's a reasonable pitch.
Most certainly. But I think the Pies and Giants will go at him first. And I think they've just got a bit more of a lure because they're in the premiership window. So that's going to be the challenge for us, along with all of those kinds of players. I think Jai Simpkin's another one that we should speak to because I think he's still a handy inside mid. And the Roos are playing him out of position. And fair enough because they've got better options. And I don't know why he'd want to move from a club that's on the same level as North right now, still struggling. But, if no one else comes in for him and he can't get an inside mid gig there, we tell him you'll play inside mid at us. Be, the leader of our midfield alongside Yowie and Harley Reid. That might be the way to tempt him. But North might ask for a little bit too much and we might not be prepared for that. But Simpkin's a little bit younger. I'm open to that one. I don't mind it.
Yeah. I think actually Simpkin is the best fit because we can say to Simpkin, leadership group, inside midfielder will give you 65, 70% midfield time.
Yeah.
But we know that you can play a bit of wing and a bit of half forward. So we'll rotate you through, but you'll get your wish for majority of inside mid. We can pay you what you're currently on, which he's getting overs at North for what his ability is. And the issue here is that I think Merritt leaves Essendon, and then I think Brad Scott goes and gets Simpkin and gives him midfield time at Essendon. That's sort of the way I see that playing out. But I think he would be a tremendous fit at West Coast. He's a really nice guy. He's a leader by his diligence as a professional. He's not like a ranter and raver, and obviously he's not a guy that goes in and lays big tackles and always, he doesn't necessarily lead by example on the field. I think he's just a really solid citizen, and so I think he would fit really well at West Coast. I just don't think we're going to get the chance to actually make the pitch, and that's probably the case with Steele as well, as you've outlined.
Yeah, and then Oliver, there's concerns there, but hey, if we get told that
Oliver would be a real throw at the stumps for a character who will contribute absolutely nothing to our team culture.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And it may, in fact, be to a detriment.
Yeah.
I think this is going to go down as the worst contract in AFL history. I think he's really past it. He has no zip, no juice, and I'm questioning his. Like, he will feel in his own, I'm sure he feels in his own head and heart that he is motivated to be a good AFL player, but I can't see it. I don't see it.
Yeah. That'll be an interesting one. But yeah, we're massive outsiders on all three, let's be honest. So
where does that leave us?
Well, that's a good question. That's a very good question. I mean, Dev Robertson comes in. You'd think they've got a batting order drawn up of some other options, and someone else will emerge as a player. Tom Mitchell's, we've spoken about him. We're not enthused by that at all, but maybe that's our last chance saloon to get an experienced player in for a year.
Yeah, it's a shame. We just haven't quite found the sweet spot to attract someone. Like, imagine Trent Rivers coming into our footy club and saying to him, we'll play you 100% midfield time. We'll give you the keys with Harley and Yowie. Like, imagine how good it would be to bring in like a West Aussie prospect who's about to hit the prime of their career. But, essentially Melbourne are moving Oliver and Petrarca out so they can bring Rivers in and play that midfield instead of halfback flank. Like, there's something just hasn't quite fallen into our lap.
Yeah, and our position doesn't help us, obviously. It's just not that attractive for those experienced players who, want to make the most of their last 3 to 5 years of their career. But I still think we'll be active and there'll be someone coming in. It just doesn't seem like it'll be that top tier player. The other part is that there are other clubs looking for those players. Like Collingwood needs to give Nick Dacos more support. The Giants need to give Callaghan and Green more support. If there weren't those other clubs looking for those players, would be a bit of a chance. We're lower down the pecking order because of that. That hurts us.
Yeah. Yeah, like if a Peatling was available this year instead of last year, we probably would have been in a great position to say to Peatling, we can pay 800 and over 5 years, and you can be a big part of our midfield. Just hasn't quite fallen our way, but perhaps there's something that Minnie's working on behind the scenes.
Yeah, they would have a batting order, and there'll be other players there that we'll be speaking to, and I think there'll be someone in addition to Roberts. Put it that way. I think it will be. It's just hard to have a gauge on who just yet, but we'll find out more in the next week or so. So the draft assistance package that came in, everyone's crying about it as per usual, making silly comments that don't add up based on what's happened with other clubs over other years. None of it really makes sense, but we've got the end of first round pick and then the 4 rookie list spots for the next 3 years. It seems like a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I mean, particularly the extra rookie list spots to help with NGA prospects is a great result for us. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm sort of a bit sick of talking about it, particularly having to defend it, because, apparently West Coast aren't allowed to utilise the rules. Other clubs are, but not us. So a Freo fan even tries to tell me the other day that Fremantle have never received any help from the AFL whatsoever throughout the history of their club, which of course isn't true. They were given a priority pick in 2001, and they chose to trade it instead of drafting, one or two of the best players potentially of the modern era in Luke Hodge and Chris Judd. So
we also propped them up financially for like the first 10 years of their existence, pretty much.
Yeah. So, and that's a whole nother discussion. But I just think everyone seems to have this chip on their shoulder about West Coast receiving any help just because the club is financially solvent, which of course has absolutely no bearing whatsoever on anything to do, legally with the team on field. So I think it's fair. It's a fair thing that they've awarded to us, and I'm quite certain that these conversations were based around them saying to the AFL, look, we think we're probably going to trade it. So if that makes it you guys feel any better about giving us that pick, we're not even going to use it.
Yeah. And hopefully we get a bit back from Brisbane if it's straight for Starcevich and Robertson. And that's also done not to dilute pick 2 for Oscar Allen. In terms of the draft watch, Drew, so I think we're all sort of monitoring that. I mean, it still seems as if for everything we're hearing, it's Dersma and Duff Tyler. The player that I'm actually keen on us to get is the one that's bolting up the boards, and I think people are tracking his highlights. Sullivan Roby looks like he would be the perfect get for the West Coast Eagles. I would love us to take him. He looks like he might be the second best mid after Dersma in the draft. Everything you see of him makes you really excited, and I don't know. I'd love us to find a way to nab him early on. I don't know how. Maybe it means we don't take Duff Tyler, but my goodness, he looks really promising.
So the question is, do you take Roby at 2, or do you trade back and try and get something else?
Yeah, that might be the move. I mean, the Duff Tyler is interesting. So we spoke about him last week, and I haven't backtracked at all on my synopsis on why taking a ruck that early isn't as bad as many people think. Listen to the last episode if you didn't catch it. It's based on the rucks that have gone top 5 in the past have all turned out to be pretty good. Natanui, Luke Jackson, the most recent, who had impact straight away. But his height isn't, as a lot of people pointed out, ruckman height. That doesn't mean he can't play there. And we don't need key forwards, as we know, because of Waterman, Shanahan, Archer Reid. But the 5 on the bench now means you're going to have more room for a bit of a big man, and Bailey Williams, of course. You're going to have a bit more room for it. So maybe there is an opportunity there to slot him in, because the bench is being expanded. But I have cooled a little bit on us taking him because of the concerns over whether he can actually play ruck at only 200 centimetres. Archer Reid's taller than him. Maybe it is Dersma and Roby. That's the wish with the first 2 picks straight up.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, we don't know how they're feeling internally. But Duff Tyler, I think it's clear, is a forward ruck. So it depends if McQualter feels like he wants to invest heavily in that position, which, let's face it, in modern AFL terms, is quite a difficult role to fill. If you look at Brisbane, they win a flag with Oscar McInerney and Darcy Fort. I don't think we're going to see that too often in future years, where there's two genuine first ruckmen who don't offer much else around the grounds being in a premiership team. I think you have your first ruck and you have your forward ruck. Filling that position is quite challenging. But do you want to fill it with a number 2 pick? That's the question they have to weigh up. And then if Roby bolts into the top 10 or top 8, then maybe you start thinking about, okay, do we trade pick 2 back, take Roby a little bit later and try and cash in, or do you monitor it on draft night and do you try and trade up? So we've got Hawthorn's pick, is that right?
Yes, which is
it's
late in the first
16
round.
or 17 or whatever it is. And then we stay in contact with those teams sort of in the early to mid-teens. And if they decide that Roby's the guy, do we try and force a deal with them? Say, well, we'll give you Hawthorn's pick and we'll give you a future, whatever. That way we get Duff Tyler, we get Dersma, and we get Roby.
Well, that'd be the ultimate scenario. I can't see it happening. But
what are you willing to give up?
We've got it. Yeah, it's going to be very hard to do that. But just watching him, it looks like one of those players who, he's gone past sharp already. It feels like on draft boards.
Yeah,
it kind of feels like by the time it ggets to draft night, he's top 3.
Well, that's interesting.
It feels like it's going that way outside of the Yuland and the academy players.
Yeah, Annabelle, all those guys. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, if West Coast, if they're that keen on him, then yeah, I think you just go for it. Let's be honest, we need gun mids. So
he just looks like he looks like. I don't want to use these comparisons, but his size and the way he bursts away and his power. I mean, there's something about when Judd came to the Eagles that makes you go, fuck, this is the kind of.
Hello.
It looks similar-ish, the way he moves, how big he is. Yeah. Anyway, we'll have to wait and see, mate. It's out of our hands. All we can do is talk and hope. But
yeah,
they're having a close look. Should we carry on our end-of-season review then?
Yeah, where are we up to?
So we're up to Jamie Cripps at 15. Pass, fail, and a bit of analysis. So I'll give a player, you give analysis, and then we'll move to the next. You go first on Cripper.
Yeah, a pass. I think he just continues to defy Father Time. And I just keep waiting for these small to medium forwards that we recruit to the club to go past him, but he just doesn't allow that to happen. And from everything we hear, he has been a really good mentor for our young players behind the scenes. So he just continues to be an extremely valuable asset. And yeah, a big part of our front six.
Yeah, one our leading goal kicker, deserves another year. Hope we don't rely on him as much next season. But hey, he wants to keep playing. He keeps playing like that, then stay on the list. One more season out of you, Cripper, please. Matt Ories at 16. Well, it was a massive fail. Just incredibly disappointing. Didn't add anything really to our team, apart from maybe a bit of off-field professionalism. But just way underperformed. And I saw he got engaged the other day. Congrats to him. Hopefully he finds his feet next season and gives us a bit more. But right now it's looking like a massive bust in terms of a 3-year contract. But yeah, it's been a bit of a shame.
Yeah, he can't kick. And that is just such a terrible deficiency for a forward to have. When he has a shot for goal, doesn't matter where it's from, there's just no guarantee it's going through. And as a young team, I would find, as a teammate, I would find that incredibly deflating that a guy who's employed to kick goals can't kick straight. So I hope that his output improves as the team gets better. But yeah, we've got a long time to work with him. So, hopefully he can improve on that output next year.
Jack Graham?
Big pass for me.
Yeah.
I even remember, over a year ago on the podcast being a little bit perplexed as to why we would want him. But now that I've seen it, I totally understand why Minnie has gone that way. His relationship with Liam Baker is quite nice. They own some cows together. They travel up to Baker's old hometown near Lake Grace and look after their cattle. And, speaking to someone at West Coast, about halfway through the year, they said the standards that he sets around the club and at training are outstanding. He took things simply to another level compared to what they were doing. And that's a great thing for the club and for the young players. And I think his performance on field was pretty good. Obviously, the slip up, I don't want to call it a slip up. It was a major error by him against GWS. And yeah, I mean, I hope he's learned his lesson. He's not alone in the AFL. Like, we can't hang him as the only one that does it. But it's it was a bit of a red flag.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of the best pressure players in the comp. You could say it was his best season since, I don't know, maybe his
Definitely
last or second last year at Richmond. He was right up there with one of our best players and would have polled much higher in the club champion if not for that suspension. And keen to see him in the midfield more. That's the only concern is why him and Baker weren't used on ball more this season. It's been a fantastic acquisition. Campbell Chesser, how do you rate him? I mean, I guess it's a pass based on the way he performed when he came back. He just missed so much footy, but it has to be a pass because he did improve his standing at the club based on where he was last year and quite considerably, to be honest. Just a shame that he's leaving now to go to Carlton and hopefully we get a nice return. But it has to be a pass based on everything added up.
Yeah, I mean, it's disappointing that he's leaving. He certainly looked like he might be in a position to deliver on a little bit of the potential that we saw in him when he gets his body right. But yeah, he won't be there. So I won't be spending too much time thinking about Campbell Chesser going forward.
The Hoff stuff for you?
Yeah, big pass. I mean, one of our best players of the season. And he's, I get sort of pissed off when I hear people say stuff like James Hurd's like, I watch West Coast and they don't have one player that would get a game in another club.
He's the one that annoys us the most because it's like, you actually don't even know who he is, you idiots. Because you don't watch.
You've literally never watched a West Coast game. And I don't blame him for not watching the Eagles. Just don't comment on the club.
Yeah.
Like just say, don't ask me because I don't know. Because Brady Hoff is a gun medium defender and he showed that he was absolutely capable of playing in the midfield as well. So a great year.
Yeah, and I think he probably goes back to halfback next season, which is fine. But he's a future captain possibility for us, along with Ruben Jimby and Jake Waterman, and maybe even Harley Reid moving forward. Yeah, he's fantastic.
Well, next year he may swap halfback midfield with Tom McCarthy potentially.
Yeah, very good chance. Jeremy McGovern, look, we have to just give a fail because of the injury, but what a legend. And it's been great watching him on Unfiltered and the front bar and all that, and the way in which he speaks. Great ambassador for the club. In that Unfiltered interview, the way in which he spoke about what footy means to him was one of the great quotes that I've seen in recent times from a player who's gone through the concussion heartbreak. That really got at me. It was that was fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah, he speaks so well and like such a genuine love for the game, and the fact that that just came out in the way that he played. And of course, Eagles fans know better than anyone that he has changed the game. One of the great all-time intercept defenders, and now basically defenders around the league are modelling themselves on Jeremy McGovern. So I think that says all you need to know.
Okay, Jack Petrocelli. Look, a fail, big fail. It feels as if his papers were stamped. Looks at Minnie said, well, you got 1 year left on your contract. Yeah, you're probably better than some of the guys we're giving games to right now, and his waffle form proved that. But we're not going to give you a new contract. So what's the point in playing you? It pretty much seems how it all played out for him.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. It hasn't really panned out. Never found his place, did he? As an AFL player, just when he was played on ball, didn't get enough of it. When he played half forward, wasn't able to utilise his obvious talents in the right way.
Yeah, and so wait and see if he gets another go somewhere else. He'd be better at a good club because he's a bit of a downhill skier. Well, he is. When things were going well, Jack Petrocelli was, but he's not a player you could rely upon to dig in. Unfortunately, that's his weakness. And he had enough chances. He had more than enough chances to prove that, and he just didn't. And there's no doubt he deserved more games this season. No doubt about that. But when that's your weakness in a rebuilding team, well, then I can understand why the club wasn't going to give him a new contract. And then what's the point of playing him when that's the case? Might as well play.
There's a picture of Jack Petrocelli next to the term downhill skier in the dictionary.
Fortunately. But, good luck. I'd love him to go somewhere else and do nicely. I really would. That'd be great to see. Archer Reed?
Yeah, pass. I think this was exactly the sort of thing that we were hoping to get out of the season, is to get a really good look at a young player and see some potential. So going, at the very start of the season, back into pre-season, we were hearing these rumours about Archer Reed being a bit of a bolter for us. And he started the season really well. Obviously, as the year goes on, young, tall, you get a bit tired and pick up niggles and whatnot, but he's going to be really a lot better for the run. And then, with Waterman back and Shanahan coming on, there'll be some genuine competition for places, and that's really good.
All right, 7.5 minutes to go, so we're going to have to move quickly. I give him a pass as well, Archer Reed, but his output wasn't as great as it could be. Yeah, he needs to go up another level next season.
Yep.
Very exciting. Ryan Marrick, a pass. Yeah, I think we spoke about him when we spoke about the club champion last time. Did really nicely and played almost every game, finished in a good position in the John Worsfold medal. He's still got, I think, levels to go to, and I like him at half-back compared to anywhere else, but definitely a pass. Harvey Johnson would have to be a fail, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we just didn't get to see him. I liked him early days, but he looks like he's probably gone.
Well, next year's massive for him, and he's going to have to find a way to get into the team. So he's going to need a massive off-season. I think he can break in. I think he can be a bolter. I'm really surprised he can get a game at all, but it has to be a fail, and he needs to really find a way to elevate himself in this preseason. So good luck to young Harvey. Matt Flynn, I'm going to give a pass to. I think in the second half of the season, he was able to show that he can play at the level. Now, no one's saying that he's our guaranteed ruck going forward. Everyone admits he's got flaws that he needs to get over, but overall, I think it's a pass on what he produced.
Yeah, I agree with that. His second half of the year was better. I'm happy for him to be our number one ruck for now.
Mo Allen, a fail for me. Your thoughts?
Certainly a fail. And it's we're in a bit of limbo with him. We actually don't really know if he's any good.
I think he'll be good. I think he'll be good.
Hopefully he has a strong preseason.
Yeah, I think from what I've seen of him, he's going to be good, but he just didn't play enough. And as a first-round pick in a strong draft, we would have hoped for him to play a lot more. So it has to be a fail, but obviously we've got high hopes on what he can do moving forward. He looks very talented. He just didn't get out there enough. Tom Gross for you. This is an interesting one.
It's a pass for me. Yeah. I think considering where he was taken, to come in as an 18-year-old and spend time in the midfield and hold his own, I think he had a reasonable year. People will remember the Richmond tackle, but he was promising. There's a bit to work with. He's got a bit of juice.
Yeah, a pass, but I think he's capable of a lot more than what he showed in the second half of the season. But he's very, very young. Tom Cole's a pass. Don't need to discuss that anymore. I think we were really impressed with his season. Deserved another year. Probably deserved a bit more than a 1-year contract. Still under 30. I thought he could have got a 2-year deal, but a pass based on what he produced. Clay Hall for you?
Pass. Yeah, he got a Rising Star nomination. He improved as the year went on. I still think he has some deficiencies which he needs to work through. But he's never going to be a star AFL midfielder, but he's a good depth player.
Agree. Harry Barnett's a fail. He's playing for his career in the off season, and hopefully he can elevate and jump up. But our ruck concerns would be very different if Harry Barnett delivered based on his draft position for a ruckman. So he just hasn't shown anything, unfortunately. It feels like Colin Livingston's gone past him. He needs a massive preseason to save his chances of making it at AFL level. Luca Grego?
I don't know. I don't know how to rate this.
Yeah, I think I'm happy to call it an even ball on him.
Even, yeah. I mean, he had a good year at waffle level. He got a crack at the very end. But I think overall we should be excited about him. It's just we just haven't seen him that much.
I'll give him a pass because of his brother, who I think is the funniest I've ever seen on social media when it comes to his debut announcement. And I'd love to see more of Peanut in the West Coast Eagles social media moving forward. I think that's his nickname.
Yes.
He was hilarious. Bailey Williams? Ooh, God, I'm going to defer to you. It's like another even.
Bailey Williams. Yeah, I feel like fail is too harsh. Pass is
too
probably
generous.
too nice.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
We just wait. We just his level, his best is by far good enough. Just need to see it more consistently.
All right, one word moving forward. Rhett Bazzo for you.
Fail.
I'll go pass. I think he showed enough. Jack Williams, fail for me.
Fail.
Job Shanahan, the king, pass.
The most golden, biggest pass you can give.
Locke Rawlinson's a fail. Malachi Champion?
I'm giving him a pass to the fact that he's made enough progress to get a game and show a bit at waffle level in his first year. I think it's impressive.
Agree. Hamish Davis is a pass, and didn't expect that at the early stage of the season.
Yeah, I like him. I like him as a nice depth player.
Coleman Livingston, probably even call. He's gone past Barnett.
Even well done he's moved up one spot in the pecking order.
Callum Jamieson have failed. He's been delisted. Sandy Brock, oh God, another tight one.
I'm giving him a pass because, you know, good on him he earned a spot on the list, got himself a game, despite the fact that he clearly has some deficiencies and some warts. But he has a genuine crack, and sometimes he gets the ball in his hand and actually looks like a reasonable footballer. So I'm willing to give him a pass.
Yeah, just a pass based on that. Harry Edwards, a hard pass. He was fantastic.
Yep.
Tyrell Dewar?
Yeah, it's a soft pass, because he started the year well. A lot of potential there. Hopefully we can unlock it.
Hutchinson's a fail, I think.
Yeah, that contract looks dicey.
A lot of opportunities, didn't show enough for mine. I think he can be, again, make him our defensive forward. Please, make him the Will Hayward of the West Coast Eagles.
Yep.
It is obvious. Play him in that role and nowhere else. And
he has to.
McCarthy's just a massive pass.
Oh, what a sensational addition. Like, what a bonus to get him.
Yeah, and the new contract's done, which is great. And then Jacob Newton, I think we can just call it even ball. We haven't seen enough from him. He'll be judged next season.
I actually liked what I saw of him in that one game that he played, or maybe two. But yeah, he looked okay.
It'll be interesting. All right, mate. So it's going to be a massive time for the club over the next week or so. It feels like our season starts on October 6th, straight period.
Yeah, well, that's right. The real season starts now.
And pick 2 for Oscar Allen will be confirmed at some stage soon as well, which is exciting too. So, look, I think we're encouraged by what we're seeing. And I think you see what's happening at clubs like Melbourne and Essendon, and everything's sort of fading away there. And yeah, we've got all that stuff out of the way at the West Coast, and we can start moving upwards. And, you know, we've got in ahead of the Tasmanian drafts enough. It'll catch us a little bit, but we've done most of our bulking of our list with young players prior to those concessions coming in. So I think we're in a good spot moving forward, but this trade and draft period will be critical in all of that.
Well, let's draft the Tasmanian and then trade him to the Devils.
Thanks, Drew. Good stuff, mate.
On your mate. Chat soon.
Bye.